Now what happens if rook takes e8? Well, wait for it. This is an amazing tactic. Check, king h7, and now pause the video. Check out this wonderful position. Black has just played h5, planning to go to h4 to stop white's knight going to g3. It's very interesting in this caro-kann line. Black has 4 pawns in front of his king. Let's take it from the top. Jan Duda versus Magnus Carlsen. This game took place in Norway chess, and this is the first time Carlsen has lost in over 2 years. His last loss was back on July 31st, 2018 against Mamedyarov in the BL Super Tournament. So let's see how Duda ended Carlsen's streak. e4, c6, d4, d5, the caro-kann, knight c3, take, and knight f6. Very popular line, because after take, black can take with the e pawn, and black has 4 pawns in front of his king. Not many openings are like this. I can only think of one other opening, which is one for white, where it's this line in the Petrov. Let me quickly show. e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6, take e5, d6, knight f3, knight e4, and now knight c3. And here take. So white actually gets 4 pawns in front of his king because white can castle queenside. Now in this caro-kann line, c3 play to defend your center, bishop d6, bishop d3, castle queen c2, lining up against the h4 pawn. So what to do? Well, let's throw in a check, and after knight e2, black has played h5. A very popular way to play as black. This h-pawn is an asset. This pawn move discourages white from castling kingside. Now in the game, bishop e3 was played. But another option is just to castle. Now you go h4, and then black has a few ideas. Maybe queen c7. So then the queen and bishop line against the h-pawn. Also, if white doesn't play h3, black will play h3. So one example could be this. Maybe queen c7. Maybe bishop d2 and then knight d7. This knight can reroute to f8 to e6. Or the bishop can come to e6. Another option might be this funky looking move, knight a6, because the idea is to go to c7 to d5. Black is not worried white will take, giving doubled pawns. For example, this line, after knight a6, if take, because he's lost some control over the light squares. Black has the bishop here. c5 is a pawn break, this bishop can go here, maybe it can come out, maybe f5, e6, maybe black can play g6 to support that. So there are a few interesting ways to play as black. Now with this move h5, Duda, he goes the other way. So he plays bishop e3. Knight d7, castle, and here, Carlsen spent 5 minutes and played b5. Perhaps a better move, maybe a safer move would be knight f8. So this knight is acting as a good defender to the king, controlling h7, even though there's a pawn on h5. But the point of putting the knight here is so then this bishop can come out. Once he's got his pieces out, maybe you can think of playing b5. For example, after knight f8, let's go king b1, maybe bishop e6, c4. With a knight coming to c3, and then black can maybe play rook c8, or black could play maybe rook b8, and queen a5, going for b5. So lots of ideas for both sides. How can black get in his pawn break with b5, starting a queenside attack, whilst at the same time, white's got his pawn center. And in these type of middle games, is this pawn center a strength or a weakness? Well, it depends on the players. It depends how the game goes. Now after castle, b5 played, and Duda, he spent 19 minutes, and Duda goes for it, and rightly so. Magnus's b5 move, it looks too soon. So Duda goes d5, breaking up the pawn chain. c5 played, so this is Carlsen's idea to sacrifice a pawn. You don't want to play c takes d5 because check and then rook d5. The pressure on the d file will be too much. This rook can go to d1, also this pawn is hanging. So no, that wasn't Carlsen's plan. The plan was to give up a pawn. Bishop takes b5, rook b8, c4. Are you enjoying the video so far? If so, why not give it a like and subscribe to the channel at the same time? Make sure you hit that bell, then YouTube will let you know when I release another video. Now back to this very interesting caro-kann game between Duda and Carlsen. c4 is a great move, defending d5 and supporting the bishop. I quite like White's position, but let's see how the game goes. a6, bishop a4, so clearing the b file. Rook e7, so the plan is to switch over to b7, doubling on the b file. Quite a unique way to switching. So this knight is going to get out the way, so I'll probably go to e5. Knight g3, knight e5, and now knight e4. Attacking c5 and the bishop on d6. The knight looks very well placed in the center. One option was to play bishop d2, just to guard a few key entry squares. b4 is now guarded. Also a5 is guarded, so then the queen can't sneak out. If White has time, he's going to play b3 to defend and then park his bishop on this diagonal. Knight e4 played by Duda. Rook b7 and b3. So you have this pawn chain. It looks impressive. Bishop on a4. It's not really out the game. It's controlling a useful diagonal. Rook b4. Bishop d2 and rook a4. So this is Carlsen's idea. Really cool journey. The rook was on e8 to e7 to b7 to b4 to a4. Sacrificing an exchange. So after take, bishop f5. So what's the idea? Why is it okay to give up an exchange? Black's rook is better than the rook in the corner. All of Black's pieces are in the game. Very well placed knight. Bishop has just come out to put pressure on this diagonal. This queen, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it can go to c7. Maybe to d7 to attack a4. Maybe to e7. How to support this bishop? Maybe it tucks back, or it can go g6. So playing for positional compensation. I like it. Rook e1 and h4. Carlsen spent 29 minutes on this move, and Engine doesn't really like it. So one option was to play knight g4. Going for knight f2. Using the pin from f5 to c2. So knight takes f2 is a threat. If you play f3, then bishop e4 is working out really nicely. If rook e4, then knight f2 is going to fork both rooks. And after rook e1, take. I think Black's doing well. The better rook, the better pawns, and the better bishop. fe4, bishop e5, bishop c3, and bishop d4. And Black is really good. He's playing on the dark squares. This queen can go to d7, like I said before. Put pressure here. It can go to d6. You control e5. This knight can come in here, here, and if White takes, then take, and this is really bad. This pawn is so useful, controlling c3, e3. The knight can hop in. Like I've said before, now the queen can actually go onto a dark square, aiming for a3. And throughout this positional sacrifice by Magnus, the b file belongs to Black. So this is too dangerous. However, in the game, h4 played by Carlsen. h3, let's stop that. h3 might be a threat, putting a question to the pawn, so if you move it, then the knight has the option to land on f3. So rook e1, h4, h3, knight g6. Carlsen needs to reroute his pieces. The knight on e5 looks great, but not really doing anything. He can't put pressure on c4 with another piece. The rook can't go to b4 because we got bishop, so maybe this knight needs to come in. Also, it vacates the e5 square for the bishop. So rook e3, cool move, because Black's rook is better than White's, so it's a good strategy to trade your worst piece. Knight f4, g4. Now bishop g6. Keeping the pressure on this diagonal, and a really cool move, king d1. King into the center. What else can White play? Well, he can't play rook b3, because knight e2 check is a problem. King d1, knight d4. Now it really is full compensation. This knight is so much stronger than this rook, so that's why king d1 is a great move from Duda. The king, not only is it further away from the b file, but it controls e2, stopping knight e2. So king d1, f5, trying to open things up. Better move might be queen d7 to put pressure on a4. Then you can go f5. If f3 trying to hold your knight, now bishop e5. but then you slide over. It's once again this really cool idea, this rook e3. e1 to e3 to b3, trying to trade off for that rook. So black should keep, and then the game goes on. However, Carlsen played f5, take the bishop, take gf5. It looks like white is winning, but so far Duda has had a very bad tournament. He's lost almost all his games, one draw. Bishop h5 check, f3. Queen f6, planning to come into a1. Rook b2 is also a threat. Bishop c3, very logical. You don't want to give your opponent any chance to come in. Queen g5, queen e4. Controlling the e-file fully. Also planning bishop e5. Also, this rook can come in as well. So queen e4 looks good, and now queen g2. Better move might be king h7 just to get off the back. But after rook e1 f6, this might be good. You are blunting this diagonal. So maybe Carlsen should get off the back. So bear this idea in mind. Let's see what happens. Queen e4, queen g2. This queen looks so dangerous. Attacking the rook, attacking this pawn. Going to support this rook coming in. Maybe ideas bishop f3 if white is not careful. But rook e1. So Duda has formed Alekhine's gun. Triple on the e-file, so strong. It would be nice if this queen maybe got out the way. Then this rook can go all the way to the 8th rank, trading off for blacks. Really good rook. Rook e1. Queen takes a2. Now white is completely winning. A better option was actually f6, just to block this diagonal. Just like before. This bishop now controls e8. So does the rook. The king can go to h7. However, Carlsen played queen takes a2. Queen c2, retreating the queen, offering a trade, and then white will be completely winning. Duda mentioned in the interview afterwards he almost blundered with queen takes f4, allowing checkmate in one. Notice the queen covers the second, so you need a piece to cover the first. So rook b1 is mate. Duda goes for a queen trade. If black trades, it's over. White is just up too much material, so he goes queen takes c4, and now a really cool sequence coming up. The first move makes sense because you just want to trade pieces. So rook e8 check, and believe it or not, Carlsen here played king h7. Amazing. Now what happens if rook takes e8? Well, wait for it. This is an amazing tactic. Check, king h7, and now pause the video. I'll give you 5 seconds. Can you find a brilliant move for white? The move is rook h8 check. Wow. Now the king can't come to g6, guarded by the pawn on f5, so you've got to take it. And now the brilliant move is bishop takes g7 check. Discovery attack from the queen onto the queen. So take, and then you're a queen down for knight bishop. So that's why after rook check, Carlsen had to play a really weird looking move, king h7. Notice this doesn't work anymore because you have your rook to take it. King h7, rook takes rook. A rook up, but it's still a mess. So Carlsen doesn't resign yet. Also, he hasn't been beaten for 125 games. And also, you hate resigning. Everyone hates resigning. So just keep playing, let's see what happens. Queen takes d5 check, queen d2, let's block. Bishop f3 check. Dodge. King c1, queen takes f5. Rook e3. Rook e3 is good because black was threatening knight d3 check. So you've got a rook guarding the d3 square. Also you attack f3. Knight e2 check, king out the way. Very sensible, and black's just running out of checks. Knight takes c3, and it's over. If you can't keep the knight, and you have to trade it for another piece, then white's just going to be so much material up. Take, take, and here Carlsen can resign. But let's see the rest. Queen f4, queen d3 check, f5, and rook f8. Queen b4 check. I just want to show a cool move. If bishop e4, queen e4 looks really cool. The queens attack each other. You can't play pawn takes because white's rook will take the queen on f4. Queen b4 check. King c1, bishop e4, queen b3. Black still has a threat. You don't want to be careless trying to go for a trade because queen b1 is mate. Here you could play rook e4, But Duda just goes for a queen trade with queen b3. Carlsen says no, queen d4, queen c3, trade again, no way. Queen d6, rook f7, threatening mate on g7. So queen g6, rook d7, keep the pressure. Queen g1 check, king b2, c4, and now let's just get rid of the dangerous bishop. Let's just take and bring the rook back. And it's time to gobble up these pawns. Let's see the rest. Queen f2 check, queen d2, check. Doesn't matter, let's just take it. Check, king b2, take, take. Queen g3, queen d4. Queen g2 check, king c3. Queen f3 check, king b4. The king runs up the board. Queen f8 check, king f5, nowhere to hide. Queen f5 check, king takes a6. g5, a5. h3. Is this close? No way. a5, h3, and now Duda finishes off. Rook e7 check, king g6, queen g7 check, king h5, queen h7 check. The queens come off. If they do, it is completely over. This pawn, the a pawn's just going to run up the board. But Carlsen went king g4, and there's a nice x-ray pattern. Pause the video. Can you see the winning move for white? I'll give you 5 seconds. The winning move is rook e4 check. The king can no longer defend the queen. This queen is defending the rook on e4 by an x-ray. So here Carlsen resigned. Because he's going to lose his queen after take and then take. Thank you so much for watching all the way until the end. That means you probably liked it. If you did, why not give the video a thumbs up? And subscribe to the channel at the same time. Make sure you hit that bell, then YouTube will let you know when I release another video.